Hey, it's Jason here with Contrabass Conversations. We are doing a Contrabass Conversations short or mini-sode. I should probably figure out a name for these. I'm talking with my friend and colleague, Trevor Jones. You've heard him on the podcast many times over the years. He is my partner in crime behind the scenes with the podcast. And I realized that we had not really talked in depth about what we've been doing with this sheet music store. You can find it at doublebassblog.org/music. This thing has got some legs, folks. I've kind of realized over the years that I have a lot of ideas or ideas come across my desk, and many of them are mediocre. Some of them are downright bad, but a few of them are good and work. And this sheet music store is working. Oh my goodness. I thought it would be cool to bring Trevor on and just talk about the thought process behind this, how this came to be. Michael Kurth of the Atlanta Symphony, we've had him on the podcast not too long ago, is really the impetus behind this. And then Trevor kind of massaged this idea or just was, we chewed on it for a while, chewed on it for a couple of years, really, and thought about it. And it launched at the end of 2020. I think that's right. Anyway, and it has done, I don't know what I was expecting, but it has certainly exceeded my expectations. And I know a lot of folks, maybe this will change as people start to get back to work as the pandemic shifts, but I think this pandemic has been a wake-up call for probably all musicians that it's nice to have something that's a little more in your control than playing in an ensemble that may disappear or all venues may decide to shut down for a year plus. So I know a lot of people are thinking about putting together projects, and we've been banging away at this podcast, blog, machine, whatever it is. I should come up with a better term for what we do here. But we've been working on this for a long time, and I thought it would be interesting to have you see inside the process of what a launch looks like for us. We've done a lot of launches. Some of them have not worked. This one has and continues to work. And so that's what today's episode is. I'm not going to run any ads in this episode because the ads would exceed the length of the episode, but I do want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Modacity. If you're looking for a practice app, I love Modacity. I've been using it for a long time. You've been hearing me talk about it for a long time. Modacity.co/CBC will put you in touch with them, and you can get a special lifetime access deal. I love it. These links are all in the show notes, by the way. I'd also like to give a shout out to Ear Trumpet Labs for their excellent Nadine mic, which is used by folks like Christian McBride, hey, and me. I am not in the same category at all, except we're both humans holding a bass, but I have been so impressed by my Nadine, which I have, and I love using it for my own recording projects. I sound so much better with the Nadine than what other gear I use, and it has been super great. It looks cool too, by the way. And finally, shout out to Dorico by Steinberg. I have fallen in love with this music notation software. I think that it's really cool what they've done. They have gotten an opportunity to reinvent music notation software. That's what Daniel Spreadbury and the team did. They've been working on this for several years. And when you're talking about apps, boy, I'm talking for a while with these sponsors, but that's okay because I like all of them. I only work with sponsors I like. All right, Jason, make this intro short. So the opportunity to take something that can be as massive as sheet music notation software and reinvent it from the ground up. You rarely get to do that with products that have been around a long time, like Photoshop or competitors to Dorico. So I have been a fan. It works the way that my brain works, if that makes sense. And I love it to death. I bought a copy and became obsessed with it. This is what I do. And talked to Daniel for the podcast, and they ended up coming on board as a sponsor. And I love it, and I use it every week. It's awesome. Okay, let's dig into this conversation about the sheet music store with my friend and colleague, Trevor Jones. I almost never do a formal intro, but I guess we've been talking for a while, so I guess I'll kind of do a formal intro. So I'm here with Trevor Jones, who works with me on everything behind the scenes and has been on the podcast. I don't even know how many times at this point, to taking over the podcast for a week back last year. So, and we've worked on so many projects that are long-term, and one that I have just been so thrilled about the success of is this sheet music store. And I have to, and I give credit every time it comes up to you, Trevor, for getting this idea going. I guess the idea was originally Michael Kurth's, if I remember right, but do you remember the early stages of this? And can you just kind of take us through how we got from the idea to what we're doing now?
Sure. Yeah, I think I would probably default to Michael. I tend to forget how these things start. But Michael was just providing us with all these really great additions, and we were putting them out, to the community, and they were just being downloaded and downloaded and downloaded. And we kind of had a little spot on the blog where we would keep all of these PDFs. But then I was thinking, man, this would be so cool to be able to provide to the double bass community in a way that is a little bit more seamless. And so, the ideas kept coming up like, well, so many people make video content now. It would be wonderful to, have an edition of something and then also like be able to preview it before you buy the edition. Because, how many times you buy sheet music and you look at it, you're kind of singing the melody in your head, you're looking at the chord progression, the piano part or whatever, and you're like, yeah, this seems cool, but really you don't know how it sounds until you like listen to a recording. And now with so much video content, you can like listen to a recording and also watch somebody like physically, figure out this piece, or how they approach it on their bass. And so, you and I were brainstorming about what would be the best platform to do that. And you had been using Gumroad for a while, for your own products, and thought, man, that's such a great, simple delivery vehicle for people. So we started just compiling all the music that we got from Michael. We had some, and then we started thinking, God, who else could we get involved in this? And so like we got Helen involved with vegetable music. We got Andy Cohn from West Virginia University. David Hayes just gave a bunch of publications. Wendell Rosa from Brazil. We have so many great people in here, and we're over at 150 publications now. A lot of them have videos attached to them, audio. Colt Davis gave us all his awesome etudes, and they have MP3 accompaniments, and you can see him playing like all over online. So it's really, the store at this point is just kind of this seamless experience where you can go in and really preview what you're about to purchase to see if it's right for you. Because the worst thing is to buy sheet music, start working on it, and be like, I don't even like this piece of music. Why did I buy this? So that's kind of where we are now. And it's we're trying to put out one free edition a month, which has done really well, to just get more of this music out to everybody. So it's kind of the abbreviated timeline.
Well, and then with this free edition, the cool thing that we've been doing, I think it's cool, is we've been putting out in a give what you want model, correct? So you can get it, but I just think that's such a great way. And we see all sorts of platforms evolving, and of course the pandemic has accelerated that for musicians, but finding ways to support independent creative artists. So if you think of Patreon and other platforms like this, the people can download it absolutely for free for that edition that we put out. But if they want to chip in a couple bucks or whatever, that goes to fund the sheet music store, and then of course to the composer. And it's just been cool to see, and this has been something that people have been experimenting with over the years. I don't remember what the first band was that did a major release with Give What You Want. Do you remember it?
Pretty sure it was Radiohead.
Radiohead. Yeah, I was going to say Smashing Pumpkins, but I'm just lost in my Chicago nostalgia. Yeah, Radiohead put that out. So this is something people have been experimenting with, and it's something that Jeff Chalmers from Discover Double Bass actually suggested I try maybe 5 years ago or so with something, and it's incredible how well that has done and contributed to the composers that we've been profiling like that.
Yeah, I think there's, there are all sorts of mindsets with this. Like, you just see it play out online where people just pop in the Contrabass Conversations Facebook group and just say, hey, where can I get this? And I clearly want it for free. I'm not interested in paying for this. And that's totally cool. I don't think people need to feel guilty about that. That's how it works. But, I do think it's worth it I do think people will pay for a good experience, and people will pay to be able to go to a single place, search for something, be able to preview the audio or video, and then knowing, like with our store, this money's going directly back to people that are in the double bass community. There is not some like, corporate overlord like Apple or Spotify or anybody. All of this money is going right back in to the hands of the people that made it. And that to me is always like, when people say shop local and keep your money circulating in a local community, this is like kind of an online version of that for the double bass community. And that I know feels really good from our perspective.
Well, and something that we talked about from the very beginning that we have is it's non-exclusive. So with the composers that we're working with, they can sell it on their website. They can sell a print version elsewhere. They can do whatever they want with it. It's just another channel. And the whole free music, give what you want model, paid music, there's a place for everything. I just had a conversation, and we'll have come out on the podcast already. So if folks are listening, listen to Isaac Trapkus and I talk about this. The launch of the sheet music store prompted him to get in touch with me. Isaac is a bassist in the New York Philharmonic, but what people might not know is he is one of the people behind IMSLP. He has been working, and of course for bass music that's up there, there's a large chance Isaac had a hand in that, but also IMSLP in general. I mean, he is one of the people. He got on board relatively early, back way before it was in the New York Philharmonic, and has been working on it. And we had a really interesting discussion about the need for access and just the equity factor of being able to get free music. And I think that IMSLP, in the same nature as Wikipedia and other sources like that, I think it's a beautiful thing. But I also think it's a beautiful thing to be able to support yourself as an independent artist. And I just think it's really cool how the bass community has latched onto this, and also how this is why I have to credit you with this, how well this integrates into what we do on the podcast and with the blog, and now the email newsletter, which is becoming one of the primary channels too. It just sort of ties into the whole bass community thing so beautifully, I think.
Yeah, I know. I know when we were thinking about this, that's just kind of always what we come back to. Whenever one of us has an idea about something, it's always like, does this actually, tie into the mission, which is just connecting people in the bass community, whether it's through their music or through Contrabass Conversations and interviews. It all goes back to just like letting people know about all the great things that the community is doing. And it certainly ties into it. And it's a ton of work, like maintaining this. And I always sometimes feel like I'm just in formatting, kind of formatting hell. But it feels really good. Like, we hear from people every week, about something, and not just the sheet music store, but anything. And I know when I was coming up in school, it's like there was basically one place where you got this stuff, or a handful of places. And to be able to connect people directly to the people that make these arrangements. And you know what? Some might say, well, there definitely never needs to be another edition of the Bach cello suites again. But there are people like Michael Kurth has these, and then Steve from San Francisco Symphony.
Steve Tramatozzi. Yep.
Yeah, has his. And you never know which version is going to connect with somebody. And so it's cool just to have this stuff. And I just truly hope it becomes a resource that more people come to get something that they need quickly and efficiently, because it's all digital, it's all PDFs. It gets delivered to you immediately, and we don't deal with stock at all, thankfully. And I hope people keep coming to this for years to come. And we're at 150 now, and it's going to keep growing.
Oh, it's incredible. And I remember writing down some marketing copy for it and saying 80 plus. And I feel like I just wrote that. So we've almost doubled. And then the whole, tying into the whole community factor, one of the asks is, or suggestions, or is if you play this, if you record this, send us that video. And it might be one of those videos that we feature as, and and people that, as people are looking up the piece and that whole experience, if people haven't checked it out, doublebassblog.org/music will take you there. And whether you're on your phone or you're on your laptop or tablet or whatever, the experience of seeing and hearing the piece, checking out samples of the music and just getting it is so seamless. That's why I'm glad we went with Gumroad. We thought of a lot of options, but it's a very contemporary feeling experience, might be a way to put it. And I've heard from many people at this point that they hadn't really thought about buying sheet music in the last few years, but just that experience of we sent out an email about it or they clicked on social media about it, boom, it came up on their phone. Oh, wow, that's cool. Click, yeah, I'll get this. Sure, if it's one of the free editions, I'll give a few dollars back to the composer, of course, and or pick it up for free and check it out. It's really cool. Again, tying to that whole community aspect.
Yeah, absolutely. And, if anyone's, listening to this at this point, if you have something that you think would be a good fit, get in touch with us, pitch us, let us know, why you want the work included in the store. We love hearing from people about their music. We have some people that have been doing this forever, arranging and writing for double bass. And we have some people, that we have some composers and arrangers that are in the store that are still in school, and they send us music. We listen to it, and it's really great. It deserves to be out there and being in the store and available for people to perform. So
it's been fun for me. Some of these pieces, if I can play them, some of them are quite challenging, but the way I'm trying to over time film some videos myself going through them. And it's just been great. I've got my iPad Pro here and I've got a bunch of titles from the sheet music store loaded up, and it's been fun to practice pieces from composers all over the world, different styles. And it's been really inspiring to me personally. There you have it, folks. I used to do more of these weird little one-off episodes like this. I think as I've gotten more into doing video and I've just gotten busier in my life, I've kind of been in the podcast groove like normal, these normal deep dives with one individual person, interview episodes. But podcasting is a really flexible format, in my opinion. You can broadcast an event that you're at, a session that you're at. You can do all sorts of Q&As. You can repurpose content easily for it. Audio is a secondary medium, if that's the term. You're doing other things and listening to it, and it's a really cool format. I like doing it, obviously, because we're over 800 episodes at this point, but I go through phases where I'm just so busy with other projects that I don't even think about playing around with the format, and I haven't played around with the format. Maybe we're probably good on the format, but I like changing it up every now and then. Boy, I am verbose today. I should close out here by thanking the folks that put these together: Michael Cooper, Steve Hinge, Mitch Mooring, and Trevor Jones, who you heard on today's episode. Mitch makes beautiful basses in the Dallas area. Check him out online at mitchmooring.com. Is it weird to not have background music in these? I don't know. Again, thank you to our sponsors, Dorico, Ear Trumpet Labs, and Modacity. And I'm your host, Jason Heath. Hope you enjoyed this shorter one. We'll be back with many more interviews coming soon. Take care, and we'll see you again soon for more life on the low end of the spectrum.